Michael, good to see you as always. Let's dive straight into Kramatorsk that we were just learning more about, and clearly devastating effects on the ground there. What is the strategic significance of that particular attack?
Yeah, Sloviansk and Kramatorsk are two key places now in this battle that's going to develop in the southeast. The Ukrainians look as if they've been pushed out of Izium, and that was their base for quite a long time. And that's an important loss. And it looks as if the Russians are now trying to push down between Sloviansk and Kramatorsk. They've already bombed the railway line between the two to cut off communications and military communications, but it also makes it more difficult for civilians, of course, to move around. And it looks as if the Russians are trying now to complete this circle between Izium, Sloviansk, Kramatorsk and Luhansk to try to create a circle and trap large parts of the Ukrainian army on the wrong side of it, to encircle them. It's quite a task they've got, and they've only just begun to do it, and most of the reinforcements haven't yet arrived. One suspects that they're under enormous pressure from the Kremlin to do something dramatic in the next couple of weeks before President Putin's Victory Day parade on the 9th of May. But we'll see how that works out. But Kramatorsk and Sloviansk at the moment is the centrepiece of this battle that is forming for the southeast of the country.
And we'll get a glimpse of that southeast region and its importance when we zoom out now to all of Ukraine. You mentioned there the need to get reinforcements and the troops in particular pulling back from Kiev. How long does that take for the Russians? And do they need the troops from Kiev to be successful in the east?
They certainly do. But the point is their forces in the north lost, and they lost quite heavily. It looks as if about half of their battalion tactical groups, which are their fighting units, about half of them were either destroyed or badly damaged. And so they're having to reform a number of new battalion tactical groups, re-equip them. And essentially what they're doing by rushing in this way, they're sending an army that's already been beaten, I mean, round the outside, as it were, through the Russian corridors, because that's where their railway lines run, and they've got to take their heavy equipment effectively by rail back into a new battle that's forming in the southeast. Meanwhile, the Ukrainians, they've got an easier job getting from Kiev to their area of the battle zone. That's internal. But any material that they get from the West, and they've said, look, we need weapons, weapons, weapons. That's what the foreign minister said at NATO yesterday, and they need them quick. But the fact is, they did have a supply line that was about 600 kilometres long from the Polish border towards Kiev. They've now got to take that line and then bring them down into the southeast. So they've now got a line of about 1,200 kilometres, much further to go to get some supplies to them. So both sides have got their relative logistical challenges. And basically, what we're seeing is a race to the southeast to join the battle, which looks as if it will determine this next phase of the war.
How crucial, then, is this next week, maybe before the race is over, before both sides can kind of get to their maximum strength in that region? Is this next week absolutely critical?
Yeah, it's always said, when you put arrows on a map like this, I mean, amateurs talk strategy, professionals talk logistics. And this next week coming is a week for professionals to talk logistics.
Well, you're the professional here, Michael. I'm the amateur, but it's always great to hear from you. Thank you so much, Michael Clarke.